What's up, guys? Steve's here. Welcome to The Last of Us Part 2 Remastered. It's been a few days. Um, I've needed to, uh, you know, develop, soak in what happened at the end of the game. But here we are on Remastered. You'll see No Return in a few days. I'll play with Ellie probably, but not there. Here we are. We have some lost levels, and I wanted to see what they were like. So we have a few here. Ellie nervously attends a party in Jackson. We're going to start off with Jackson Party. Developer commentary. Yeah. Begin the level with an introduction video from Neil the Legend Druckmann. Yeah, let's do it. This is some levels that weren't put in the game, and now we get to play. By the way, if you have the PS4 edition, this is only an extra $10.
You're
I would say
about to
spend
play
it.
an unfinished level from The Last of Us Part 2.
What's up, dude? Jackson Party.
The reason we added this section is there are a few sequences, and we picked the 3 of the best ones, that we cut from the game. You know, often we build a game that's much bigger than what ends up being the final product. They're months away from being finished, but we wanted to give you an insight of what it's like when we built the game, because often we have this whole thing constructed and it doesn't have final art or audio or dialogue. And here you get to see the building blocks of what it's like when we first string a bunch of these levels together. This is the intro to the first deleted level, and this one is the roughest of the 3. We wanted to show more of how Jackson operates. So this is the festival where Ellie ultimately kisses Dina. This sequence would have come very late in the game as a flashback sequence while you're in the farm with Dina. And we wanted to show what is the rest of Jackson doing, and wanted to put on the stick, make it interactive. So you could see when you're outside, there are all these almost like carnival games that you can play. You could mix drinks, you could play with these kids that are playing a sort of clicker Marco Polo, sit down and listen to conversations. And all the different interactions were first or second pass, very, very early passes. The building blocks are there, but nothing is final. And ultimately, while we were very excited by this sequence, it's pretty fun and lighthearted. It just slowed things too much as we're barreling towards the end of the story at this point. So again, reminder, rough, missing audio, missing animation, missing gameplay tweaks, missing dialogue, but pretty representative of what it would have been. So enjoy.
Thanks, Neil. All right, this will be cool. We did get a flashback, but nothing interactive, so it will be rough. Yeah, this is gonna be rough. This is so interesting, dude. But they have subtitles on.
Originally, this level was going to transition us to farm.
This is cool.
We would go all the way through to the dance, where Ellie and Dina share their first kiss. Then we would play through farm, and when Ellie plays the guitar at night, she would remember the Seth incident. So, the opening for this was a little tricky. We needed it to match at least a little what you might expect emotionally coming from prior beats, because we were already purposefully disorienting you in time and space. Remember, you just came from this huge fight. To jump straight into it would have been a little too jarring. After some back and forth, we rooted it in Ellie's nerves, calling back to her hands shaking in the theater. But this time, for a much more innocuous reason we'll find out later. She's nervous because she has a crush on Dina, who is the only reason why she's here at the dance.
Yeah, I remember this. We got the flashback pretty recently after the huge fight in the theater with Dina and Ellie and Abby and Tommy and Jesse. So, I agree.
Something we really wanted to do was highlight the way their lives had turned upside down since she went down this path. We had this idea of recontextualizing all of our usual gameplay mechanics that were designed for really violent ends. The workbench, door bashes, throwable weapons, and even the infected, which is my personal favorite. Peppered throughout the level are moments of levity or shared history, all the while seeing how happy and mundane they all were before her huge revenge odyssey.
They're playing clicker Marco Polo.
This is one of my favorite sections because I think that it achieves both the slice-of-life aspect of Jackson while also being a stark reminder of how dark the world that they live in really, really is. To attract attention and curiosity, one of the kids was supposed to make this adorable, messed up little clicker impression, and the others would giggle. We tried a version where if you got close enough, the kid might try and follow you a little before turning back. Since clickers are blind and move by echolocation, for this game of messed up tag, Ellie must close her eyes and listen for when the children give themselves away. The thought was that these kids are in relative safety. They still grow up with the dangers of clickers and runners, and all those lessons would embed themselves in the games that they play. When the festival got cut, they tried to preserve this moment and move it to the front of the game where the snowball fight is, as a tutorial. However, being in the headspace of a clicker doesn't really teach you how to deal with them. Eventually, it evolved, and they instead made the snowball fight, which was, I think, way more effective.
Yeah, I
For
like that
me,
better.
it's character illuminating that not only does Ellie know this game, she plays along. There's a familiarity with the kids that's really nice to see, especially because it's such a difference from the Ellie we see later, who has a sort of hollow normalcy that she's trying to get with JJ, but kind of fails.
Who's JJ? Oh, is that Jesse? I don't know.
This is one of my favorite
Oh no,
sections.
shut the fuck up. we already
because I think
heard
that it
this.
achieves both the slice of life
Give
and
me
the makeup
this.
artist is
Okay.
pretty simple. It's one of those little in-game scenes we peppered in to make it feel like Ellie had roots in the
This
town.
is cool.
Hallie, our writer, mentioned that in her mind, an ex-girlfriend of Ellie's tattooed her arm to cover up her scar. So we figured this might be the only time you get to see that. We wanted to hint at it and allude to it and make it feel like there had been so much more that had been happening and so much more that Ellie threw away.
Nice face painting. Thank you. Looks sick. Yeah, maybe? This is interesting, dude. I like this.
It is not a festival without one of these throwing games. This one, of course, uses our throwable system where you're often chucking explosive things or stunning things, but for a more wholesome purpose, although some people take this game really seriously. A fun aspect of this is if you did well, you could win a toy here. Ellie would place it in her pocket. If you had done this, you'd find the toy with JJ, the baby, later back at the farm. When we cut
JJ's
this,
the baby.
toy made it through anyway because it was so cute. It is the same one you see on the tractor at the farm. Ollie the elephant.
So JJ is the kid's name. I don't think I knew that. Can I play again? I thought I was... Whatever. I really like this. I'm happy they added these. These are pretty cool.
We use our workbench a lot to make a lot of things that kill and maim and hurt people. Here, we had the silly idea of using the same field,
Here's some bourbon.
harkening back to the same animations, using the exact same UI to instead fix a drink. Like the workbench, you could pick your base, and then you could add something to it. And at the time, we had some different reactions from Ellie based on how strong you chose to make the drink. Something we wanted to prototype though, before it got cut, was picking up some ingredients around to add, like a lime or maybe a bottle of someone's favorite whiskey or salt, like you were earning upgrades. We also toyed with having Ellie carry around the drink you made and occasionally sip it, psyching herself up to go talk to Dina inside because she's nervous. It got too noodly though, because she would need to keep placing it somewhere before she did anything.
Yeah.
So it would have ended up more trouble than it was worth.
Damn, this is cool because it kind of gives you the insight of a game dev. I'll go in there in a second. I think the last two little things are there. I thought I just soft locked myself. We're good. Don't worry about it. Nice. Alright. That was a fun little thing. Alright, let's head inside. This is pretty cool. What's up, Maria? Aw. Tommy! How you doing, buddy? Oh, I missed some stuff. Okay. Let me see what I missed. A couple audio things. I missed I think like 3 and 7. Yeah, I got you. Sorry about that. Let me see. We're gonna go through all 3 levels. If they're all about that length, we should be fine. Honesty is such a lonely word. Okay. You heard that. That was the first one. Nothing back here. Heard that. Snowman. Alright, what I miss? Face paint. That was the drinking. That was the game. That was that. Did I not miss any? 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, and 6. So I missed a lot. Let me try this again. I want another attempt at this. Oh, I'm cracked. Oh, I'm so good. Oh, fuck. Alright, heard that. 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. Yeah, this is the one I missed.
There's a hidden spot at the back that was just a bit of fun. It was highlighting Jackson's normalcy with something we would find in a real world. In the back, you would find teenagers finding some alone time with each other
Yeah.
in a dark corner of a party. It was rewarding the player for peeking into a hidden corner, but ultimately redirecting them back to the festival. We also had versions of them smoking weed here, despite Maria's consternation, probably having gotten it from Eugene.
That would have been cool. Alright, that's cool. Alright, that's the first one. God, I hope there's no combat. Seattle sewers. Let me see Neil. Seattle sewers, baby.
In this second deleted level, which is an extended sequence of the sewers in Seattle, this comes on the heels of where Ellie goes into a building and she survives an attack by stalkers and gets thrown out of a window and gets swept away by the current. And then we cut this section that used to be there in the final game. Now you will get to play it. So this was a way to get a bit more interesting puzzles, interesting traversal, figure out how Ellie can navigate the sewers with the fighting current. Ultimately, with a lot of these levels and these sequences, the reason why we cut them more for pacing purposes. But here it is for you in this very kind of raw form that part of it will feel finished, parts of it will feel like assets are missing as far as audio, animation won't be final, but it's a glimpse into what a game looks like when it's months away from finishing. Enjoy.
Thanks, Dilly boy. Let's see. Fuck.
Get off me!
Okay, that's what we saw in game. Now we're gonna see. This is cut. Or not yet, but in a minute. You saw that. Yeah, I don't remember this. I don't like that we have ammo. I don't want to do fucking... I think I missed it. No? There we go. This actually looks pretty good. Yeah, this is audio.
Okay. Where the hell am I?
This
This
level,
is-
internally known as Find Nora, was quite long in duration as we had to make Ellie traverse a far distance to the opposite side of downtown Seattle. The sewer section was originally longer than what we released the game with, approximately 10 minutes more. This was one of the few areas of the game that used water flow as part of a traversal puzzle. The player has to go upstream to use the current to get to the platform to reach the other side. We mostly cut this mechanic game-wide, however it remained in essence in the section swimming to the aquarium as Ellie when you were avoiding the waves.
Yeah.
The ladder acts as an immediate goal for the player, but being able to climb out is not going to be so easy. To keep levels interesting and engaging, we alternate between positive and negative values the player experiences. Here, it's a positive to have found a ladder, but then a negative to discover it's not the solution. But then another positive to identify the next short-term goal of the doorway. By alternating between these opposing
Yeah.
values, we give players what they expect, but not how they expect it.
A doorway? You said something about a door? Yeah, it is a pretty cool way to make a puzzle.
Almost had it.
I heard this. It's here, right?
When players reach the doorway and enter into the room, they're faced with a
What have
dead
we got
end.
here?
The real reason for this dead-end room is that on the reversal when exiting back out of the doorway, players are faced with the route onwards. A pipe that they'd not been able to see when they were swept past it on the way in, and something that was hidden from view when on the side platforms. The intention here being that the only option is to go off the standard path in order
No, I
to search
saw
for
it.
a way out.
I saw that.
Get me the hell out of here.
I like the developer comments. They're pretty interesting.
Throughout the rest of the level, we also use light to indicate to the player that they were heading in the right direction. At each turn, however, we block the direct route forward. Players would know that they just have to keep finding alternative paths, promoting those feelings of being desperate and trapped. We slowly introduce the player to consider climbing into smaller pipes and crouching in these
Up
tight
and out.
spaces. This is to slowly
going
build
up
up
and
to
out.
and encourage the player to climb into such a small pipe that they'd have to be crawling on their stomach, which is something that the player previously may not have recognised as a playable space, let alone the desired route they need to take. We added a tiny space just to reward the player's exploration with a pickup item, and we made sure it was something that made sense that you'd find in this area. A canister and all the garbage that had been washed into the sewers from the surface. We loved the
Where?
idea of making Ellie prone through a tiny dirty pipe in order to get out, as it was a great opportunity to use our prone mechanic. A unique camera setup was created to support crawling in these pipes, as the standard prone camera is much higher above the player. We also created custom collision in order for Ellie to manoeuvre in these tight spaces easily. Initially, the oblong collision capsule around her character caused issues
shit,
crawling
Ellie.
around corners. We put extra effort into the custom corner collision, so the movement experience is as smooth as the main game.
Yeah, this is interesting. I like it. Also, very disgusting.
In order for the player to feel cramped, claustrophobic and desperate, we'd been enforcing the traversal mechanics that allow for a tight environment which promote these feelings. We introduced the use of the squeeze through so that we can keep the player feeling enclosed and tight, but without repeating the same geometry. Here we change from low ceilings with wider walls to high ceilings and tight walls to change up the spatial pacing and
No.
keep the level from repeating itself.
I'm not supposed to go up there. Yeah, so I actually recorded lines for all this, so this was possibly going to be in the game. I'm glad it wasn't, because it's disgusting.
This would be a shitty place to die.
Right? Literally.
Originally, we had the water line much higher here, so players had to swim through this tight tunnel. However, from watching user test feedback, it was occasionally causing people to discount the route entirely and turn back on themselves. So to avoid any risk of this happening in the final game, we present a lower water level so the tunnel is easy to see and commit to using. Although this isn't as impactful without the prone swim, it's the better decision as it means a smoother experience for the player with no backtracking frustration. As we surface from the water and over the crest of the slope, we reveal what is further in this tunnel. A clicker that sprouted and the fungus has grown on the sides of the pipe.
Great.
It was great to see people who user tested this area becoming increasingly worried as we forced the player to squeeze past the fungus and inches away from the clicker's face, all the time not being sure whether the clicker might be alive or attack them. Although we aren't as cruel as to force a clicker attack in such close proximity, we do have a payoff for this moment. This clicker momentarily turned into Joel to show Ellie's PTSD from what happened to Joel at the start of the game. Ultimately, we decided to save this moment for the farm level, as it was more impactful there because it could become the centrepiece of that experience. Whereas in the sewers, we weren't able to make it as much of a narrative point and give it the breathing room and reaction time that it deserves, given the tight space.
Yeah, that is creepy. Rest in peace, bud.
Oh, shit.
I mean, this is pretty cool to get the Dev's insight, but also fuck them, because they killed Joel.
For the final section, we eventually opened you out into a wider area as you traverse through such tight spacing leading up to this. So changing the environmental pacing makes it begin to feel like we're coming to the end of Ellie's ordeal. An earlier iteration used the current that we'd shown at the start for a slightly tougher traversal puzzle to conclude the sewers. The ladder was clearly visible from most of the area, but the player was faced with a fast-flowing torrent of water they couldn't cross. If the player attempted to jump into the water, they were not able to swim across the ladder due to the water's speed. But instead, they had to traverse the pipe running along the top of the space in order to get across the water.
I think I gotta listen to what that guy just said.
Using this pipe was retained in the iteration we shipped with, as it's the last of the extreme methods Ellie has to undergo in order to escape the sewers, and what she will go through in her pursuit of revenge.
I think I missed a couple, but if it did, it was like one or two. So like, I'm good, dude.
The last ladder climb is quite lengthy, and although we could have trimmed it down to a shorter climb, we liked how this last segment of the journey built anticipation for whether there was success at the top or not after all you've been through. Ultimately, the ladder exits out into the subway station, which is how it connects in the final game. Ellie then has to find her way to the hospital from here, crossing paths with the scars for the first time.
Oh, that's when it was. Right. Yeah, that's cool. Right. The hunt. Oh, this is early on, huh? Last one. Lost levels, the hunt.
For this third and final deleted level, what we call the boar hunt sequence, this was a sequence pretty late in the game.
Oh,
it
never
was
mind.
right after the whole Seattle Abby sequence where Abby spares Ellie. And then we wanted to come back into Ellie's story, but keep it a bit mysterious of how much time has passed, where is Ellie now? So we're coming in on Ellie, and she's following a trail of blood. And we wanted to mirror, in a way, the deer hunt sequence from the first game, but this time do it with a boar. And there's something with Ellie that now she can't let go of this violence. She's pursuing it, even against this innocent animal. This was another opportunity to show how the violence that Ellie has experienced, the violence that she witnessed being afflicted onto Joel, is still sticking with her, and she's still experiencing these PTSD moments. This was a sequence that was pretty far along and was cut pretty late in production. Parts of it are still really rough, but the gameplay, the building blocks were all there. I think you'll have fun to see, like, again, a rough, unfinished sequence that you can play. You can see all the way to the end, and including a cinematic that we end up cutting. And the remnants of the sequence ended up being mentioned in Ellie's journal. So this part of the story that we developed still made its way into the game as kind of optional stuff that you could read about, but here you get to experience it. So as a reminder, this is pretty rough, months away from being finished, but you get to see it now.
All right. Let's get ourselves some developer insight.
So the boar hunt was one of the hardest levels for me to work on. It was a huge challenge with the systems that we had, and we kept trying, but it never felt quite right. Originally, the level happened after the Jackson Festival, which also got cut, but before Farm. Once the festival got cut, it became the prologue to Farm. The intended experience is that we jump forward in time after the fight with Abby in the theater. We don't know where Dina is. We likely assume she's dead because she was just bleeding out. Ellie is alone. Her hair is short. So maybe this is the future or the present. And she's hunting. Hunting who? Abby still? In early iterations of the fight, it was more arena-like. The player slowly whittles down the boar's health. Ellie gets more visceral and more vicious. We get a little worried about her. As the boar gets weaker, more panicked, more feral, and we start feeling sympathetic to the boar, was the hope. In all of these iterations, especially of these wider areas, it required custom AI and scripting to make sure it continued to feel organic as an animal, but we really needed it to do specific stuff. It needed to be able to close distances really, really quickly. It needed to charge to attack, but we wanted the feeling of hunting, so we needed to track it down from afar. And we also needed to discourage the player from attacking the boar when it's that close, or it would kind of turn into this melee kerfuffle. How do we do this in our world while keeping the boar believable? We must have gone through 5 or 6 iterations of the boar fight and all, and every single time it changed pretty drastically. We split it into clear phases, where one was like all long range. We tried another where you're getting close and you get to jump on it quite literally. You're jumping off of a rock to attack it. And then finally, we tried a bunch where you almost sort of go around a bunch of trailers and try and wrestle it. We uncovered after some time that taking down a boar over several phases felt very laborious and a little dramatic. It was comically long, it felt too boss-like, a little too gamey. We decided to cut the first few phases, and we opted for a cold open after the boar had already been hurt off-screen. So that allowed us to focus on feeling like we're closing in on prey and to introduce the boar when it was at its most dangerous. Already hurt, already feral, much too close for comfort. And so the thinking was it would bring us more into Ellie's mindset. Is this really hunting for food, or is she hunting for some other reason? The gas station was built to highlight the boar's destructiveness. Since it's cramped, the boar feels larger. We also feel trapped with it, though perhaps it's trapped with us. When it charges, it gets to us quickly, so we must be on our toes. This made it more aligned with Ellie's sort of hunting for trouble mindset. Listening became more important, as well as moving around slowly so it didn't hear you. Could you spot it before it saw or heard you? And could you get a shot off quickly enough so you could dodge out of the way? Or is the shot worth the cost after? It feels like a gamble. By the end of the fight, everything would likely be in shambles. The boar would burst through the back, and Ellie would follow it and finally enact revenge.
All right, let's do this.
Okay. I can't see shit.
God damn. Yeah, that doesn't look great. Doesn't look great, but I mean, we knew that.
Got you. It's over. Nowhere to run.
Where is it?
The boar kill was supposed to be
done.
anything but glorious. With the boar whimpering at the back of the gas station after Ellie's relentless hunt. After this, hearing the drone that we kinda come to associate with Ellie's trauma, we would hard cut to the stream where she's washing her hands and holding rabbits that she hunted, about to return to Dina. And there would be no mention of the boar.
God damn. Joel. Damn, those are pretty cool. I'm happy they put that in there. Yeah, it's pretty cool. So this does complete the story to unlock, unfortunately, because I did play it on The Last of Us PS4, and this is the PS5 edition, so it does not think I completed it. So let's see what some of this extra shit is. Model viewer? Okay. It's Ellie. For sure. That was interesting. We have guitar, free play, no return, which you guys will see in a day or two. Tomorrow, 2 days, some point. It'll be one character's no return. To kind of give you the idea, there's other ones on YouTube. It'll probably be Ellie. Here's free play, which is pretty cool. We're gonna do the banjo, because you can't do the banjo. And something that I think is cool is they have Ellie, they have Joel, and they also have Gustavo, who is the game's choreographer, not choreographer, um, music guy, the composer. He composed music guy. Nice dude. He composed all the music, including the Last of Us theme that we all love. So I will now play you something on the banjo. Okay. As me playing a beautiful instrument. Um, we obviously have the story, which I've played already. You saw I finished it a few days ago, I guess. I'll have to play it in like a year or two after I forgot everything. Um, yeah, I'm pissed off that I can't see this shit even though I finished the game. Whatever, I'm actually doing this on the 20th of January. I finished the game last night, so the 19th. Um, so this came out like it was in the last 24 hours. So a lot of people are discovering this for the first time as well as me. You guys are seeing this a little bit later, like 5 days, 6 days, 7 days, a week later, whatever it is. But I hope you guys enjoyed this video. I'll see you guys in a couple days with no return. And like I said, February 1st, back with God of War. So I'll see you then. Peace out. Stay safe.